The first question you're always asked is, have you ridden in the Grand National? You know, how have you got on in the Grand National? It's never about any other part of your career. You are more aware of the history in that race than in any other. And it was always part of our family's history. Cloth Cap this season's been a revelation.
He flew round. Cloth Cap and Tom Scudamore have won.
It was great winning the Ladbroke on him, and ultimately he won very well. I'm extremely proud of everything that my grandfather and father have achieved. If I could win the Grand National, it would be the pinnacle of my career so far, without a shadow of a doubt.
Aintree was its incomparable self. Very well fancied was Oxo, Mike Scudamore up.
Dad used to tell me about Oxo, and when you look at that old film of Oxo, you know, he was brought to win a national, and that's what it was all about, you know.
8-year-old Oxo, exercising here in the competent hands of Michael Scudamore, was the horse picked to win you the Grand National.
I've just seen some footage of Oxo schooling at home in colour, which is absolutely fantastic, because it seems to bring all these people back to life again.
Grandad winning the Grand National was something I was obviously very aware of from an early age. Everywhere we seemed to go was, you know, this is Michael Scudamore, winner of the Grand National. And, you know, it didn't define him as a man, but you know, we all took great pride in him being a Grand National winner. It was incredible.
He's one of the most famous nationals of all time, because the second horse, Tim Brookshaw, he breaks his leather. And if you can see the film of on Pathé News of him landing over Beeches, they land together and you can see Tim turn across to Dad and he says, "Look, Michael, no irons, we'll be on the pictures now." I can't remember when I first saw it visually. I had it ingrained in my mind by all the stories of what had happened. Dad passed away a few years ago. I wish I could hear the stories one more time, you know.
I think Grandad might have given Dad a little bit of a rib tickling every now and again that he never won the National, but growing up, Dad was champion jockey 8 times. When you went somewhere with him and Grandad, you know, they'd all flock to Dad and say, you know, you're champion jockey 8 times. How many times you won the Grand National? Oh, I've never actually won it. You know, Grandad would always pop up. I've won it once.
One of the proudest moments was only a few months ago. Thomas and Michael won the Oxo Chase, and I got a picture of them with a cup. So it is something that, you know, the family, it's not me, are immensely proud of it.
My earliest memory of the Grand National would have been Ryman Reason winning it in 1988. It was the first time I ever went up to Liverpool to watch the National, and my father fell in front jumping Beeches, but the second time round.
We ride to the plan that Dad taught us. The Scudamores ride to the plan that Dad taught us. I couldn't carry it out, but I knew how to ride around the Grand National.
Grandad gave a lot of advice to the Scudamores about many things, and the Grand National, how to ride the Grand National was always theirs.
Dad always went down the outer. The year I fell, was Strands of Gold, I went down the inner. So I was never forgiven, and I turned over at Beeches down the inner, but look, you know, that's life.
They're under starters orders, they're off.
So when Earth Summit won it in 1998, Dad was assistant trainer at the time to Nigel Twiston-Davies. Both Dad and Grandad had bought Earth Summit as a store horse.
Here comes Earth Summit, and he is over safely under Carl Llewellyn, trained by Nigel Twiston-Davies.
I went into business with Nigel Twiston-Davies, and we had Earth Summit, and he was a delightful horse. He won a Scottish National, a Welsh National, the National.
It's Earth Summit, the Summit partnership successful. What a story. He's won the Welsh, he's won the Scottish, and now he takes the Martel Grand National.
Earth Summit played a huge part in sort of my upbringing. To finally sort of be loosely involved in the Grand National winner brought so much joy to all the family.
One for Arthur. It was almost too much to wish that he could win.
The final fence, one for Arthur, jumped through to take over. They're racing towards the elbow in the National, and it's one for Arthur, out in front for an historic Scottish success.
Father had just died, and I remember having a piece of his clothing, and it was just like a memento, I suppose, just a lucky charm.
Only the second ever Scottish train winner of the National, one for Arthur for Derek Fox and Lucinda Russell, win the National.
When One for Arthur won the Grand National, I think it was the pride that Dad had in Lucinda. Every Grand National winner is planned, but they'd done a fantastic job with him, and the fact I think his granddaughters were there for the first time as well, so he managed to drag them up onto the podium. I remember being so proud of what they'd achieved, and it was a very memorable day.
Cloth Cap is a totally different horse to One for Arthur. Thomas is 38 years of age. He's ridden in more Grand Nationals than I have. He's a better jockey than I am.
Obviously, he's never run around the national fences before. You don't know how he's going to take to it, but I'd be very confident that he's got the bravery and the intelligence that you need for around there. He ticks all the boxes. He's ran very well in the Coral Scottish National over 4 miles, where he was really staying on well at the end. So I don't see the trip being a problem. I can talk as much as I like. He's got to go and do it.
Cloth Cap and Tom Scudamore come down towards the last fence. They've flown it. He's flown every fence in this race. Cloth Cap and Tom Scudamore then in the closing stages of the Ladbrokes Trophy are well clear.
His biggest strength is that if the handicapper had his say again tomorrow, he'd be framing the rates £14 against us, which is a lot of weight to have up our sleeve. The one thing I can't predict is the luck of the race.
Cloth Cap is pretty much a British thing. Fantastic. It's owned by Trevor Hemmings, who wears a cloth cap. Trained by John Joe O'Neill, one of our great heroes.
Making the approach to the final fence in the Bet365 Premier Chase. Cloth Cap is over safely. It is Cloth Cap with Tom Scudamore taking a leisurely look behind, and no doubt this will be pleasing him, as Cloth Cap for John Joe O'Neill and Trevor Hemmings enhances his Grand National credentials in great style by making all.
With Thomas going the Cloth Cap, huge expectation, but trying to keep yourself on the ground. It's probably worse watching your son than doing it yourself.
Well, Cloth Cap would have been bought with the Grand National in mind. He's got the right man training him, and hopefully all I've got to do is point him in the right direction. It's an old cliche, but I wouldn't swap him for anything. If I could win the Grand National, it would certainly be the pinnacle of my career so far. I'm immensely proud of what all my family have achieved, and I know they're proud of what I've done so far, but I wouldn't mind making them a little bit prouder by winning the Grand National.